Hi pearls, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be telling you everything you need to know about how to use a Roblox rig. Rigs make your GFXs so much better and some people get confused by them, so in this video I'll be explaining everything that should be helpful for you. And before I get started, I want to wish you all a happy New Year's Eve. Hopefully 2021 is a bit better than 2020 and hopefully you guys have a happy and healthy New Year's. Without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to be covering 4 main sections in this video, and there will be a pinned comment with timestamps for all of these, so if you're only interested in like 1 or 2, then feel free to skip to certain times in the comment section. But the first topic is what is a rig and why should you use it. Then I'll be going over how to download the rigs. Then I'll be going over how to use them in Blender, and that's where I'll be going over what each of the wires means and how to rotate and pose them. And lastly, I'll be talking about how to duplicate them to make multiple people appear in your GFX. So let's start. We're gonna first start off with what is a rig and why should you use one. So rigs are an avatar base that you use to apply your character's texture on top of, and they basically are just a new body for your Roblox avatar, and you should use them because they make your GFXs look so much smoother. The limbs are a lot more cohesive and smoother, so when you're bending a leg, they look a lot smoother than when you're not using a rig, and everything just looks cleaner in my opinion. Also, if you like to animate, you should definitely use a rig, because if you don't, then the limbs sometimes start like disconnecting from the body in the animations. I don't really know the best way to explain it, but if you're gonna animate, I highly recommend using a rig. So that is why you should use one. Now let's talk about how to download them. There will be 3 links in the description for different types of rigs. So first of all, this is the woman rig, and this is the rig that I use 99% of the time. It is my favorite rig. Even if I'm using like a male avatar, I still use this rig because it is my favorite. But this is where you download it. So head over to the website linked in the description and just click this blue download button. Do not click any of these other ones. These could possibly give you a virus if you click them. So as long as you just click this, you should be safe. The next rig is the man rig, and this one is a bit different from the woman rig. They all work the same, they just look different. So this is the second one. And lastly, we have this rig, which I believe is a blocky rig. So we can get this, and it basically just gives you that blocky avatar look. So that's how you download them. Now let's move on to how to use them in Blender. I'm going to be using Blender version 2.79 because it is my favorite version, but if you're using Blender 2.8 or anything else, this should work basically the exact same. Doesn't really matter what version you're using. So once you've downloaded it, you want to click File at the top left corner and then go to Open, then Downloads, and find the rig folder. So Roblox rig_woman rig default blend. So once you open your rig, the first thing you want to do is delete the head. I have gone over all of this in my GFX tutorial, so I'm going to be quickly glancing over in this one, because you should already know how to make a basic GFX or basically just know how Blender works. I am going to be working on a tutorial without a rig, but this is basically just an add-on to my GFX tutorials, so if you watch that and you were stuck with the rig part, you can come back here. I will leave a link to my GFX tutorials for both Blender 2.79 and Blender 2.8 in the description box, so make sure you watch those and have a basic understanding of how to use Blender before you watch this one. But now that I have my rig in here, let's start posing it. So at this point, if I was making a normal GFX, I would import my avatar and the background, and I would add the texture onto the rig. All of that is explained in my GFX tutorial. This video is just about how to work the rig itself. So if you want to know more about how to add your avatar's texture and how to add a room model to it and everything like that, all videos will be linked in the description with my GFX tutorials playlist. But anyways, so this is our rig, and I'm gonna go over all of the wires explaining what they do so that you can hopefully understand them, because I know this looks really intimidating and overwhelming. So first we have this green wire, and as you can see, this affects the neck. So if you want a really tall neck or really short neck, or if you want to rotate it a certain way, that is what this can be used for. Next we have these 2 double circles on either arm. So we have a blue one and a red one, and these control the arm. So as you can see, you can rotate them on any of the axes using these circles, and you can also separate them like this and move them away from the body, and that's on either side. Next, one lower, we have these singular circles by each elbow, and these are used to bend the arm like this, and you can do that on either side. Next, we have these zigzag ones on either wrist, and these are to bend the wrist. As you can see, you can rotate them. I don't move these too much, but if you want your character to be holding something, then you can change this a bit. Next is the hand, which It looks really busy, but on the hand, the only two you need to worry about are these two rectangles right here, and these just change the hand like this. I, again, barely use this, but I have my GFXs where I want my character to be holding her hands in a heart. I will put an example on the screen, and that's where I will use that one for. Next, this green one at the torso helps rotate the upper body. If you want your avatar to be leaning or in way, you can do that. Next, we have this yellow one, and this just rotates the entire rig at a midpoint. Next is this bigger green one, and this just moves both of the legs. Though if you want to move the legs, I do not recommend using this one. It also brings like the stomach with it, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I do not recommend using that one. If you do want to move the legs, then you should use these two square ones. So these move the leg without also moving the waist, and I use this one way more. I think this one looks a bit better, so that's why I prefer this one. This square wire right here bends the knees. So if you want your character to be sitting in a chair, look at how crazy this rig looks. Ignore this mess, but I'm just trying to explain it all. Then we have another zigzag one down here, and this helps bend the foot, so you can position the foot. And then the last one you will need to know is this bottom circular one with the little points on the end, and that is just another way to move the entire rig. And that is all you're gonna need. There are some extra ones like this boxy one right back here, or this square one above us, or these like feet ones at the bottom. Those are not necessary. They're just extras. There's some more extras over here that you will not need, but they're just there. You can ignore them. They won't show up in your final GFX. You won't be able to see the wires once everything is rendered. So that is how to use them in Blender and how to rotate them. So hopefully that helped clear up some confusion in case anything was confusing to you. And lastly, this is how to duplicate them. Now, a few months ago, I made a video on like 5 tips and tricks to improve your GFXs, and I believe one of the tips was how to duplicate rigs, but my method has since changed and I use a method that works better, and I'll explain why in a second. So to duplicate a rig, the first thing you want to do is open up your Finder or wherever you keep your downloads. So then go to your downloads, and you want to find where you keep your rig. So as you can see, this is my folder. Yours should say Roblox rig _woman or _man or whatever one you got. Click it, then you're going to right click, and you're going to select duplicate. So then you should get a copy of it. So once you have copied it, you're going to head back to Blender. So again, make sure you go to your downloads or wherever you keep your rig and duplicate that folder. Then you're going to head back to Blender, and you're going to right click any of the limbs, not one of the wires. You don't want to select the wire, you want to select a limb. It doesn't matter which one. I'll just use the leg because why not? Then you're going to want to go to the top and click file, then go to append, then head to your downloads, then find the copy folder, click that, then click rig again, click default blend. This is different from importing the first rig because you will have more options. So you want to click the object folder, and then you'll see this. You want to press A on your keyboard to select everything. So when you press A, everything will be highlighted, and then you're going to click append from library. Hi, I'm editing right now, and I just realized that my folder had like a million more pieces than yours probably has. That was a mistake that I had made a few weeks ago, but just ignore that, and yeah, yours doesn't need to have like a million pieces like mine does. So once you have appended in the new rig, this is what it should look like. It should look basically like a duplicate of your previous rig, but with a lot of weird stuff. So what you want to do, first of all, is delete the head and delete these weird boxes on the head. So now that I have that done, I'm going to find this circle at the bottom. Remember the circle? I was showing you what it looked like on the other rig. So this is what I'm going to click, and it might be hard to find because there are a ton of wires. You're going to take the rig and you're going to move it over. Using the circle, move the rig out of the way. Also, you might get some weird like boxes and stuff that spawn at other points. There will be a few that you have to delete, but once you delete them, you should be good. Ignore this part in the back. Yours should not have this. That was me messing around with something else, so pretend you don't see that. But then once you move the character out of the way, you should see all of this stuff. To delete it, what you want to do is zoom out and then press Control and hold down Control, and you can click and drag and select like this. So I'm just going to circle around this entire section like that, and as you can see, all that should be selected. So now if I press X and delete them, they should all be gone. So that is how you add in an extra rig. Now, why I prefer this method over my previous one is you can add in different types of rigs. So let's say I wanted to have a female rig, but I also wanted a man rig. I could go to append, so following the same method. Okay, this is the blocky rig, not the man rig. I can have 2 different types of rigs in my GFX, and with my previous method, you cannot have that, which is why I prefer this one. So if you want to have different GFXs and different rigs and everything like that, this method works super well because you can have as many different types of rigs as you would like to add. So that is everything you need to know about rigs. If you are stuck on anything, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, and I will try my best to help you if I know the answer. And that is everything for today's today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it and it helps me out a lot. And yeah, hopefully you guys have an amazing day and a happy new year, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye, pearls!